Oh my god, look at that mess. By the way, just all the stash from Diecast Expo is perfectly fine. So last weekend, over the past few days, on Saturday and Sunday, there was an event called the Auto Diecast Expo that happened. I think everyone knows what's going on already. So Auto Diecast Expo was a pretty interesting event to say the least, because this year there's no ToyCon, if you haven't catch up with the news yet. And Auto Diecast Expo is Masterpiece's only major event appearance during this year. But I don't know about next year, maybe he'll bring it back, who knows at all, you know what I mean. And now the Auto Diecast Expo is part of 3 consecutive events that's unrelated but all hosted at pretty much around the same time during August/September. First one is obviously the Auto Diecast Expo, where Masterpiece is fronting it. Then following 2 weeks later is the model car show involving Toy Space, which is the new Singapore distributor for Tiny. And then there is also the Singapore Diecast Expo a week later, which is the OG one that Masterpiece and Tiny attended a few years ago, obviously getting betrayed. All I can tell you is the Auto Expo is incredibly yes, to say the least. Probably not to you, but to us, because we handled the custom bus ad stuff. I'll talk about that later. But first, let's actually talk about what was the lineup at the expo event. I'm just going to call it Auto Diecast Expo because it's very confusing. The names get very interchangeable. Sometimes it's called the Diecast Expo, Auto Diecast Expo, or even Singapore Diecast Expo. That's even the reason why the original Singapore Diecast Expo have to come out with a statement saying that, oh, it's a different event, we'll see you in September. So yeah, the Auto Diecast Expo, a lot of the booths there from the Auto Diecast Expo are actually from ToyCon last year. Some that you may have heard before, like Project Blue Beyond. I think there's a few more, I can't remember, but there are a few other new booths that I've never seen before, because the organizer, She Loves Cars, brought in a lot more other organizers, and that's pretty cool. There's a booth that sold like Tomica items and play racks, like very cool. It looks like the mechanic ones. They also have also booths that sold Mini GT, Pop Race, whatever, you know, those car scaled models and stuff. There's one that also sold police car models, some that sold vehicle mats, something like Dream Customs but not Dream Customs. And then there's also one whole section where they sell like a bunch of toys there, like straight up kids toys is over there. And then there's also a stage there which hosted like a dinner first day, and it's a place where the lucky draws for the Spot the Bus contest across the 2 days. There's a small RC track beside the stage where they have like races and stuff. Some of them are on actual like simulated racing tracks to the best that they can do. And there's also like ones that involve like off-road terrain and stuff like that. Basically, you can just drive around these RC cars as much as you want. There's also like a shop that sells them. And not to forget, the event bus, the ANS PC9264R, is also at the event, parked right beside the Masterpiece Collectibles booth. So it's more or less a mixture of everything. And not only that, the biggest part of the event, obviously not the Diecast Expo, it is the Auto Expo and the National Bikers Weekend. The Auto Expo part has a lot of second-hand cars that are on sale, but there are some display ones also, but it's not really a lot. It's not like the IAM last year, even though IM is involved in the Auto Expo this year. The most of the cars when you walk in, right, they are mostly the ones from the car dealers, the used car dealers that they are trying to resell. Auto Diecast Expo and the Auto Expo takes up 3 and 4, right? The 5th one is actually all the National Bikers Weekend. There's a lot of like motorbike related stuff, like there are the motorbikes on display, the fragrances, almost anything you can think of. And then outside the expo, at Car Park C, they also have like a small drifting showcase where you can get inside a car and then they'll drive you around, they'll drift you around the tracks. Obviously, you want to hear me talk about Masterpiece lah. Based on what I can see, it is quite long to Masterpiece standards, you know. But this year it probably isn't that bad, because the queue from Masterpiece inside the expo is all air conditioned. It's the expo after all. It's better than sitting outside Car Leisure Park. During the event, Masterpiece released like multiple different stuff. They had like a KNS train, if I'm not wrong. I don't know my train stuff, okay? I only do bus. There's, I think, also the Boss Edition LFS, light firefighting vehicle, and I think that's pretty much it. On the bus side, there's a lot of stuff that's released. For starters, there's the Nissan Diesel, which we have heard for the longest time already. There is the event bus, obviously, and there's also a budget terminal KUB. There is also this Alpha Z12, which many people complain that is in quote-unquote blind box condition. But if you probably just buy the whole box set for like $230, you confirm get one of each. And not only that, there's also a CG full body ad, which is the Together We Go Further. And actually, let's check out the buses right now. Alrighty, so here are the models that the bus models specifically that Masterpiece have released. This should be all of them. Obviously, they have resold some of their previous models at the event, like the Citaros and the KUBs, but The main focus on the event are the newer releases, which is this 5. Few things to point out here. This Nissan Diesel sold out by the end of the event, which is a little bit slow compared to what we experienced last year, but whatever, at least we see like the end of the tunnel, because we've been hearing about this and the OC for like the longest time since last year already. We have 5 different models in here. And just to preface, I'm not going to open this one because apparently Zach didn't buy this, so I'm just going to keep it. I'm not going to open it, but you can see it is basically in the budget terminal livery that you see back in the day lah. Here's a few more pictures of the renders on screen lah. I think the quality is not bad. Even though Masterpiece have a very shaky quality control as of late, I think the QB is fine. I don't know, I've not heard any complaints about this, so it should be fine lah. But then that brings us down to 4 models that we have on the table lah. Let's start off with the Auto Expo ad that we have, or actually the Diecast Expo. See, this is what I mean. So do I call it Auto Diecast Expo or the Diecast Expo? Okay, never mind. Gwen Chana, it's fine. So as far as you can see, this is the event model. Below, choking warning hazard. Behind, you know, licensed by Gemilang, event model for this year, MCCT110822 event number 4. This ad is very similar to the Toycon ad that we saw like 2 years ago in terms of layout. The only difference is it has a more cooler color lah. Just to get a recap, it looks like this, just a plain white color with all the sponsors. Like honestly, does it look appealing to you? Very basic lah, obviously based on what you can see. To be fair, that's Masterpiece first outing lah. The next year got a lot better. But this year's one, if I open out and if we have a look here, it's definitely a lot better in detail lah. 30th to 31st August, Singapore Expo Hall 345 plus Car Park C. Actually it's 3B. If I can see, the printing looks really close to it, and if I take it out here, it looks quite nice. They have the ad represented quite well. Now, minus the fact that the doors lost air pressure suddenly on the first day, so we had to block it out. The major difference that I can see first off from the ad is the back lah. The back have like a give way to bus sticker for some reason on this side, and a really weird like speed limit font lah. Usually the 60 km/h sign, it has a very distinct font that you can find lah, but for some reason the event bus have a slightly different one lah. I don't know why. And here's the offside. I just realized something. I don't know if it's because this is just the difference between 8932 and 9264. There's also one area that's empty out here for the HEPA filter, if I'm not wrong, and you can see the Man Lion City logo is absent here and here. That's how it is on 9264. So like what I say, it's a faithful recreation. It's just I don't see a custom bus ads logo in here. But other than that, you can see it's 9264R in the front with the ANS logo and the Welcome to Auto Diecast Expo EDS scroll lah, if you manage to see it when the bus ignition is on lah. But other than that, that's the ad for you lah. It looks very faithful to it. It's a good reminder of how good the event is. So moving on, next we got the Boss Edition CG. This is the Together We Go Further advertisement that was introduced by SBS Transit last time when the CG first debuted, and this one there was a lot of talk, so I will tell you more about it as I open up this bus. So this is at the bottom, the code is MCCT10 Boss 11, the 11th Boss model that we have under the Masterpiece Collectible series. Again, you have the long-term exposure stuff, I agree. There's also the SG60 logo lah. There were a few releases this year that had it. This was one, the Airport Terminal 41 was one. There's a lot that will have this SG61 this year because obviously it's the 60th Golden Jubilee year that we have in Singapore lah. If I open it up, here's the ad itself. It looks very nice. Together We Go Further. This is a wheelchair accessible bus. So this is like what I said, very far back in the days where the ad first showed up. SBS Transit commissioned this ad. It's kind of like our BYD one, but the BYD one was actually for SciTech. So this one was again to show off the proudness of the wheelchair accessibility, because this were the first few ones in the country that have it at the time. Looks really stunning. It has all the details. The printing is very fine, except a few things. For starters, many people point this out here and they managed to find back the source. It was from Little Red Dot Buses, so he snapped it also on 72 at the time, but I think the ad was on the road for quite some time, so you can start to see the wear and tear on the wheel arch, on this back wheel arch, and I think also here. But for some reason in the Masterpiece version, this is fixed, but this wasn't, so I guess it's still kind of a form of a realism thing lah. Behind also, many people are asking why there's no hole for the Desto display. I've checked back the pictures based on what I can find, and it's also like that in real life. There used to not be a Desto holder, like a hole for the Desto when the ad was first pasted. It's a very in SBS thing. Based on how, if you remember, the CG ones were done, they had like the small acrylic holders and stuff. I think those were only like fit on a while after, and that's when they start realizing that they probably need an area to still display the service number at the back lah. Prior to that, they probably didn't have the thought to do it, so they just cover up the back like that lah. After all, if you remember, prior to the CDG, the buses that SBS Transit had back then, I think Volgren VSO and the Danish Trident, they all don't have the back slots, except 989U, which is odd lah. And on this side, also the same ad, it looks very stunning. But there's one thing that was missing lah. If you have seen the actual ad, there was the SBS Transit logo that was being probably pasted here and I think here, but it was absent. I don't know why there is no logos for this, but whatever, it still looks very good. It's a very rare shoot. I think minus the logo, it still looks quite nice in terms of detail, in terms of sharpness. At least it's a departure from another Atlas ad, because many people were actually complaining saying, oh, we see a lot of CDG releases, it's like the same mold stuff. And even though I mentioned before that it's a way to save back on cost, at least now with ads like this, I think it looks like it's a more unique way to show off the mold while bringing something new to the table. And you can see at the front, this is Service 72 SBS 7309R. So yeah, very nice. And the fact that this CG bodywork was a local bodywork that we have is something that's worth to be proud of this SG60 lah, even though National Day has long been over already, because we don't really see much of local innovative bodyworks in like the public bus scene nowadays. The last we've seen was the Noise Star, but whether we'll get a full production batch, especially when Gemilang is also making their own, we have to find out lah. We are now moving on to the Alpha Z12 coach blind box. Like what I say, many people weren't very happy with this release because many people again were unhappy with the thought of having a blind box lah. Actually, you know what? Let me bring you the big one, the box that I've came with, because I have a copy of it. So here's how the bigger box would have looked like. You have gotten a few options, or actually if you got everything in this one box here, which is around $200, you have gotten a good fair of combinations. You have gotten WTS Travel, Lloyd Transit, Leisure Frontier, Hongchun Travel, Tan Bus Services, Luxury Coach, Leo Transport, and Sunshow Transport. And all around the bus, there are the really cool renders of the bus, the front and the back of it. And on top here, you have a nice close-up of the lights and the front parts of the bus itself. Really nice design overall. But I think this is actually more of just a reference photo that whoever go and took picture and sent. It's like what I said, 8 variants. If you don't buy the whole pack, you'll be treated to a blind box. Many people weren't happy with it. Tried my luck also lah. I think on the third time I have a luxury, but it was with Javier. But the 2 attempts prior, I got these 2 lah. I got Central Transport and I got the Lloyd Transit one, which is the Penguin livery lah. Because this is licensed, if I'm not wrong, by Z12 to a certain degree. You can see that some variants actually have the various badgings lah. For example, the Sunshow Transport here have the Volvo badging here. So again, this is another case of licensed by the bodywork manufacturer, but not by the original engine manufacturer. So probably the next best thing that Masterpiece can do lah. And it still looks very nice either way. You can see behind the Sunshow one has the grills here, and if I just take it off, gosh, it feels so nice. Even though I'm not a coach guy, it still looks very nice lah. This is the Lloyd Transit one, which also has very nice detail. I think I can't see on this one. I also see there's the Volvo badge here. I think the most noticeable difference is on the luxury. The interior seats, you can see this black area inside here. They vary between variant to variant. If you have the luxury one, where obviously in real life the seating configuration is more of like a standard overland coach where it's a 2+1 configuration, the model will also reflect it that way. But because Sunshow and Lloyd Transit, these are private operators in Singapore, they have a more standard conventional 2+2 seating configuration lah. So that's why you can see here it's all reflected that way lah. But either way, it still looks very nice lah. Yeah, there's a few inaccuracies with this model either way lah, despite looking really good. I don't have the luxury one with me right now, but based on what I heard, some of the variants have this back grills missing. For example, the luxury one has it missing. That's owing to because the grills were actually, if I'm not wrong, printed on instead. So for some reason, the back grill section was missing on the luxury. I don't know how far it affects, because you can't really see it from the box because it's just a render after all. But I think you can see it on some of the other ones if the details don't explicitly show it lah. I think luxury is the only one that has this kind of faults but more importantly is I think you can kind of tell but it's not really easy lah. The color printing seems to be a little bit off. The biggest difference I think you can see is if you look at the Leisure Frontier one, because if you have seen the Leisure Frontier livery, the orange is very bright, there's a lot of details to it, it's more vibrant lah, to say the least. But for some reason in the Z12 Masterpiece release, the color is a little bit muted for that one, and I think it applies to the other ones too lah. That was a odd issue that I think will be fixed in the future lah. And speaking of odd issues that need to be fixed in the future, I forgot to point this out, and I think you're very observant, you realize this also. I'm backtracking back to the A22 because they fixed the mirrors on the A22. If you can see here, the mirrors is a tad bit shorter. I realized this just when I'm talking about this. I wanted to say this just now, but I obviously missed it out lah, and it's more thicker lah compared to this one. So that's one point that I forgot to bring it up. And obviously the Z12 being a coach model, there are other companies that have Z12s that hasn't been featured yet. For example, there's Cityline and KKKL lah. That's provided if the performance on this coach release is really good for Dixon lah. And likewise, if this coach release does incredibly well, right, next time he might probably look for other manufacturers. And honestly, is it a fair competition to Ariel's Yutong C11? Maybe. Alright, so we're down to one last model here on the table. This is the Nissan Diesel UD bus under the Trans Island livery. This was on service 950. No, this is not the 950 that we know today. You know, the one that goes to Johor Bahru and stuff. So this version of 950, the best equivalent I can tell you, or actually I don't think there's even such an equivalent. Basically, last time 950 was a route that would have ran from Marsiling to Shenton Way. 5 years later, it was amended to Woodlands Regional Interchange, and then a month later, it was discontinued under the Woodlands MRT rationalization. That's what I saw. And 8 years later, we have the 950 that we know today lah, the one that goes from Woodlands to the CIQ lah, or last time it would have served up to Kota Raya too, but that's gone already. But anyways, this is the Nissan Diesel. I forgot what's the actual term for this. The actual technical name is the Nissan Diesel U31RCN. In the past, Trans Island is not the only operator that have it. There is another one called City Shuttle Services. But either ways, both of them, Trans Island and CSS, would in the end be purchased by SMRT. Just to put you on the same page, CSS or City Shuttle Service, not Cascading Style Sheets, the one that makes your webpage nice. That used to be part of a hop-on, hop-off concept lah. The reason why they also happen to have this about the same model is because, if I'm not wrong, they are affiliated with Trans Island to some degree. But either ways, CSS got folded in 2004. TIBS got rebranded to SMRT eventually. In the end, both of them got absorbed by SMRT and these buses were operating till as late as 2012. So you can see here's the detail, long-term exposure, same stuff here. Below, you have the UD71. Yeah, this is mark number 71 now. And obviously, with a Trans Island one, and like what I said, there is also the SMRT one, and there's also the City Shuttle one, like what I said lah. So here, 950 Singapore UD bus. And obviously, one detail you can see about the bodywork is this has a more 80s Japanese vibe to it lah.
That looks like the old Japanese bus lah.
Where you can see the old bus is more like where it has the 2 doors in front, there's no sliding door behind lah. This is like a very standard Japanese thing lah. Other countries also practice the same concept lah. Countries like South Korea and Taiwan still adopt it to some degree today lah. But Japan was one of those countries, and I'll tell you what, it is a very faithful recreation. Even the back where the engine placement is. Obviously, I'm not that old to show you Trans Island lah. I'm old enough to tell you SMRT, and that's about it. But I can see that the details are very faithful. Inside, there's the handrails in here, and it looks really nice. And this is, I think, the cool part about Masterpiece Collectibles is the ability to revisit really nostalgic days that is probably not in my era and not in yours, but probably like older people. Like recently there was a picture of like the 0405 that was going around on Facebook. There was a parent that came up to me in the custom bus ads booth. She was talking to me like, you sell this old bus? I said you can go and look at Masterpiece. And obviously you know lah, there's the 0405 that's also coming up. That one caught me and everyone else off guard lah. That was an entirely new release that's coming up. Basically it's kind of like this lah. They used to have a 176 version that Masterpiece masterpiece made, but then they are shrunk down to 1/110 scale lah. And the detail, like what I say, is still very immaculate. It looks very close lah, and the attention to detail is still not compromised, even though it's 1/110 lah. The one I'm probably looking forward to is the CSS one. The CSS livery looks sick. Just a matter of time he released this lah. But back to the topic about the 0405. It showed some of it in the display cabinet lah. If the box is really present, it'll probably just be a matter of weeks to months that we'll start to see the 0405 getting released lah. But for now, this is the best we can play with and I'll tell you what, it looks really nice. The windows and everything, gosh, it looks pristine. Like what Dixon said, if you missed out on the 176 release a few years ago in the very OG days of Masterpiece, do not worry, because you have this coming out already. So yeah, but like what is, so yeah, to kind of say the Nissan Diesel is one of the more unique bodyworks that you can find around in Singapore lah. In general, regardless of any time period in Singapore, up to 2013 before it retires, a lot of the designs are more European influence. If you look at from as far back as the 90s, if the Hispano bodyworks, regardless of habit or carrossera, all the way up to 2013 when you see buses like the Mercedes-Benz Citaro, or even like some of the Asian original bodyworks that we have, like the OC500LE, which was originally designed in Thailand by Tomburi, or even the Scania KUB. This one just feels incredibly different, and it's very unique lah. It kind of reminds me of the Uniplan Centraliner, or if you are even more OG, the design line buses that are in the single digits that used to operate last time in Hong Kong lah. Those have a very unique bodywork that stands out compared to all the other buses at the time lah. So like what I said, this looks really cool. If like what he says, if you miss out on 176, this is your best chance to get it, and sure, I didn't miss out on it lah, and it looks really sick. Overall, that is what we all have for the Masterpiece side, just to show it one more time on screen as we usually do. Anyways, with all the stuff mentioned about Masterpiece, let's talk about custom bus ads. Oh yeah, have I not told you that this is actually AI generated? I think you can even see it by yourself.
Auto Expo 2025 happening on the 31st August at Singapore Expo. 锁定新车和二手车超值清仓优惠，还有改装零件专区、复古经典车型、模型车展等你来探索，尽在 Auto Expo 2025，入场免费，由 Auto Culture Singapore 主办。
So yeah, the footfall is actually insane. There's actually people that actually went to the event. There's still quite a lot of people lah. All I can say is, if you think last year was insane, I think this year is even crazier. Even though it's like shorter than ToyCon itself, I think we still win pretty well lah. I think I'll wrap it up like that because I think we kind of went through everything. What I'm gonna show you is just all the bloopers that I have coming up. So if you're new here, do remember like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Thanks for watching, and I will show you the bloopers right now.
I can see.
Oh my god! Wow, GG. Lucky it's Afiq one. Lucky it's just Afiq. Yeah, and then, yeah, this one are the corgi.
Ready booker already what?
Oh,
There's no, I thought no mirror one.
got lah. Oh. No, later it break right. Then last year we go and tape it again.
Tape it again.
Hey, come, dance for me. Dance for me. Dance for me. Dance for me, boy. Dance for me.
Hello, I want to buy bus. Why don't I buy bus?
Car, helicopter, airplane, Airbus A380, that's 100.
Well, I don't want to go to your shop only. Bye.
Hello. I'm a good fan of you.
Good to meet you.
Good fan of you, Nas.
Why don't you catch up the beefy? This is the main beefy bus.
Can you sign on my daughter's shirt, please?
Two.
Don't you never get your
Wow.
12.
Wow, he got two
Congratulations to all the winners and 6 more tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Thank you.
왠지 그럴수록 더 난 당당해져 기분 좋아지는 걸.
Bus ad and
Master P. Oh my god. Oh. Ooh.
masterpiece.
Ooh. Masterpieces. Nah, man. It worked. It worked. It worked.
I see so many Spencer legs.
Wanna do it?
The silence just for away.
Want the pencil bag right? $5.
Really? Wow, you just reading me.
So I buy one.
So not my pencil.
$1.
What?
You want pencil right?
Yeah. Give me. Why? Whoa, okay, give me that pencil. I need that pencil. I need to write.
Then $10.
What? Too expensive, man.
$10.
Too expensive. Too expensive.
$10.
Opposite the seller side for sell for $1 and you're selling for $10.
So already.
Upper.
Bro, later you go, then talk. We move the bus out first.
Still loading.
Still loading?
Still loading. Not very fast.
How long?
Still loading. Down 6. Up but got to 9.
9 ah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything I call with you.
Anything after me, I will read the message from time to time.
Thank you.
Eh, thank you. Bye
飞机了
Wait lah, okay.
bye.
I guess we're stuck here for a while then.
Oh, GG.
They doing every marshalling.
Okay, turn right.
My this side is not gonna clear if I cannot move the yellow thing. Have to angle it straight out like that. This one has to go, one behind has to go. Your side will not clear. This one not Bentley bus.
One eternity later.
Marshall.
Wait, hold.
Okay, good.
Okay, you can.
Good, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, although I cannot go out.
It's too cold in here.
It's not that, I got zero visibility everywhere.
GG.